On today's episode, we are recording this the day after the second round began, but these thoughts are basically regardless of the results in game one. We'll talk about the second round's preview, and then we'll actually talk a little bit. We'll power rank the remaining teams just to kind of fuel that conversation. And then I'm not saying I'm out in trivia, but it sure is getting close to June. We'll see. 4 point opportunity for me in trivia next.
Welcome back to the Two Pointers podcast. I'm Josh.
And I'm Trevor.
So we're into the second round. This is where the playoffs actually get exciting.
I don't know about
Who's
you. The
ready?
first round for me was exciting. I mean, I was thrilled. It was a great first round.
Yeah, but
Like literally, like NBA
the higher
championship
seed
feeling.
won every series.
I know, and that's the crazy thing. It did feel
It's,
exciting,
it's just
but
a
they
pretty
literally
normal
did.
thing for the NBA first round.
Yeah, I didn't notice that until literally this morning doing some notes. I was like, one, two,
Like you and
three.
I were right about 7 out of the
Oh,
8.
yeah, no. And I mean, what was the one we got wrong? Holy cow! What was the one we got
Dallas
wrong?
and Utah.
Oh yeah, we should have known. Utah's in shambles anyway. But yeah, I didn't. I just
We
started
didn't even
counting
know
out
quite how
the.
bad it was until
We do now, but that is a
yeah.
story for another day. When we actually have more validity there.
When we recap
Um,
the Rudy Gobert trade, that will happen at some point to someone.
at this point, it's draft night, right? Like that's what's going to happen. So we'll see. All right, so we're going to lead off in the intro. I talked about how we're going to do power rankings. I didn't really do that in order by accident, of course, but we're going to power rank the remaining teams, which is going to then fuel our prediction conversation around shocker going from west to east. We'll talk about the four series left in the playoffs here. So I'm going to rattle off my power rankings, and this is not like a 8-7. Like we're not going. I'm just going to rattle mine off, and we'll just react accordingly. You can stop me if you'd like, but we'll just make this kind of like rapid fire, kind of like, hey, this is what we did. We thought about doing this because I think it's interesting to see where our thoughts are, and this isn't necessarily a gauge of our prediction. It's a gauge of our what we think of these teams so far. So we are taking into account all things that have happened up until this point, injuries, etc. So at 8, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid's injury, that hurts them tremendously. He'll be out for at least game one and game two. At 7, I have the Dallas Mavericks. At 6, I have the Memphis Grizzlies. That is probably we're gonna disagree quite heavily. At 5, I have the
Oh
Milwaukee Bucks. So we can stop there. Memphis at 6. What are your? I guess where do you have
no,
Memphis?
no, we'll recap when I do
All right,
not. You just
we'll
keep
do
going.
it. Memphis at 6, Milwaukee at 5. I think just that is slightly influenced with Giannis's performance in Game One on Sunday. Um, I just I just had this weird hunch he's going to go into like just this another otherworldly level, and he did. So Golden State at 4, squeaking out a win against Memphis on Sunday as well. Again, not a fan of the Sunday. I think they need to move those up a little bit, but I know what they were doing. Miami at 3. Here's where it gets fun. This is where I think we're going to disagree. Is 1 and 8? I think we're going to agree on necessarily, but it's the 2 through 7 part of it. Number 2, I have Boston, and number 1, I have Phoenix, and it's very close. So, where are you on the other side?
All right, let's go 8-1. Number 8, I have the Philadelphia 76ers.
I knew it.
Uh, Star with a broken face. I'm just not there. 7, I have the Dallas Mavericks, who I had no confidence in to make it out of the first round in the first place. At 6, as much as I love him, I have Milwaukee. Um, Game 1 went great. That's awesome. But Chris Middleton's not there, and that's going to be a detriment. At 5, having really taken a fall, I have the Miami Heat. Um, I just don't think they match up well. Now, realizing that I've put 2 of the 3 Eastern Conference teams behind them, so they look good in the East.
Yeah, that's fair.
But for the rest of the teams that are here in the playoffs, I don't have them high. 4, I have Memphis. I'm a little down on them after their Minnesota struggles. 3, I have Golden State. I think they look amazing. They keep climbing. And then I was trying to get you to realize I wasn't going to go your route here at the top. I've flipped where I'm at. At 2, I have Phoenix, and at 1, I have Boston after the first round.
So this whole exercise was to provoke natural conversation around where our general thoughts of these teams were, because it partly helps that some of these games, we're recording this on Monday, May 2nd, some of these games obviously have been played as of yesterday. So what I really wanted to get out of this conversation is the ones where we disagree, such as your Phoenix and Boston flip flop, maybe why or why not. The Miami at 5, but in the East they're 2. Like I see what you're going there. For me, one that I think we're going to talk about just a second here is Memphis at 6, and I can start with that, and that's actually where I wanted to begin. You had them at 4, so you said, and you even said you're down on them slightly. However,
I had
where
them
I
at 3.
am, oh, maybe, so who'd you say you were down on? Oh, Miami, that's right.
No, I
So
meant
you're
like I had them at 3 before, and I've moved Memphis down to 4th in my rankings.
okay. So you did. So you dropped them
Mm-hmm.
relatively. Like you, that even though it's not a big drop, it is a drop. I dropped them from 4 to 6. So a bigger drop. The What it is for me is, one, obviously partly subjective to the fact that they just lost to Golden State by 1, and I'll talk about the exact reasoning towards when we go to predict that round or that series. But where I am is, and I'm not saying this is a testament to Minnesota, but it is. Minnesota was a really, really good team to match up against them. It just almost felt like they were better in some of those quarters, and Memphis just did not look like the Memphis so far that they did all year. And I'm not going to say obviously that they're better without Ja. Like, I'm tired of that analogy. I really am. People have said it all year. They were 20-2 without him this year. Whatever, right?
It's the
But what I
playoffs.
am
This is
saying,
where the absolute wild takes come out, like when people said Middleton was better than Giannis last year for so long.
people were saying this in like late February, which is scary.
I've heard
My
it.
point, and it sucks because they're not, right. They're better with their best player. What
Yeah.
I'm getting at is, it was just a testament to, I'm not the guy to overreact to too much, but I am going to say that I just saw that series, and it was the one we watched the most. Duh, it was a great series, and it just was. Every time I watched, I go, why can't they get ahead 12? Why can't they hold them here? They need 3 stops, and then Minnesota would proceed to win
They're
that
young.
game. And that's the biggest thing. I'm okay with that, because they're going to be, the fact that they were they were a 2 seed this year coming in, or 3. Yeah, so 2 seed. They overplayed expectations. I think we can all admit that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm willing to temper those a little bit, because next year, if they are the number 1 seed, if Phoenix say falls apart or a guy gets hurt or whatever, like, Memphis could very well be the best team in the West next year if Phoenix has a couple of things change. So it's
Like
less a
Chris Paul
testament.
retiring.
If they win a title, I wouldn't rule anything out. I mean, he's obviously got
I
three
think
years,
he's
2 years left
retiring
on his
after this year,
contract.
just regardless.
He's got 2 years left on his deal, so I don't know what he's going to do. But it's a testament for me for Memphis. Long story short, is they just aren't. They're not proving it, whether it's needing a stop here or trying to go up 12 here, because they have the talent to do it. I know they're young. I know they're inexperienced, and that's the part that I'll touch on when we get to the Golden State preview. So Memphis for me at 6 was the biggest thing. We don't really have to touch on Dallas, Philadelphia. I'm curious on the Miami thoughts to 5. Is it similar for me with Memphis? Obviously, they're not a young team, but they're
Well, this is the first time you've had me kind of rank out everybody, and so maybe the kind of the shock is that Miami is lower than 3 West teams when they've always kind of been my second East team, and they're still my second East team. But those top 3 in the West, Phoenix, Golden State, and Memphis, I'm just way higher on than I am Miami. Yeah, just something about, from an offensive perspective, I don't know if Miami's really ever found a way to click this season, like to really get everything to fit together, and like they're just not clicking there. And this isn't, early May is not the time to try to be figuring that out.
I'm just going to scroll down here to my Miami Philadelphia notes, and I'm going to read it verbatim. The Heat need to use this series to get a couple of tweaks corrected offensively to be prepared for the winner of Boston and Milwaukee. You took the words out of my mouth,
Mhm.
like literally off the page. So we agree there. I thought about this hypothetically, because I knew that I had Memphis sliding, and I had a suspicion you may have Miami down, but not that far down. If Miami and Memphis play right now, who wins
I don't
in a
know.
series? In a series, you
I
really
don't know.
don't think, like, you would not take Miami pretty handedly?
Not handily, no.
I would take Miami in a series, and then whether it's handedly or not, like, I would take Miami in a series, and that's the point that I wanted to make with why I had them above Memphis. Now, obviously, I had them 3 spots different, but it's Miami right now. I think would beat Memphis in a series, and that's where I was like, I at least have to have Miami above Memphis. And I know yours, and the reason I say that is because yours
I
is
don't know
three
if I
flip.
would say they would. I mean,
I think so.
Memphis
That
was incredibly impressive yesterday in a loss
they
against Oklahoma
were,
State.
and
I mean,
I
that
want to
was
watch
like
this again.
watching a couple of heavyweight boxers just not put their hands up and just throw bombs at each other.
It was. It felt exactly like a 12 round boxing fight. It really did. And I like I said, I have some thoughts on the specifics of that, but it's for me, and that the whole exercise and why I wanted to do this was because we're not going to spend 40 minutes on each team in each series. So this is a gauge, kind of like a temp check almost in a sense where, yeah, you have Miami at 5, but Miami very well could still win the East. They could very well still win this series against Philadelphia, like I think they probably will. And then there'll be a really good matchup for Milwaukee and Boston, whoever it is. I think at that point they're kind of destined to be a team that can beat one of those two. So because at this point the East, I just don't even know. Other than Philadelphia, like it's again exactly what we said. It's going to be a bloodbath, and that's why I wanted to have these conversations. I'm curious. The
Milwaukee, like
Phoenix,
if Giannis continues to do this, I don't know what's to say that Milwaukee doesn't win the East again. So
I look, I told you they were my favorite. They were my pick. I mean, I picked them, so I can't really say otherwise. What was your? How close was Phoenix Boston? Because we had them flipped, and I'll tell you
very close.
partly very close, and that's where I was too. That's the reason I ask is because, and I don't want to say I looked at these power rankings slightly different than I did my prediction for the series. I actually made my predictions, and I can't prove this. People don't, there's no way for people to know I did this or not. But I did them Sunday night or Sunday morning, or prior to the games on Sunday because I wanted to be level headed with my prediction, not based on fluctuating what I saw. These power rankings, however, are completely subjective to today on Monday, May 2nd. So I am taking into account Boston getting walloped by Milwaukee. I'm completely taking that consideration, and I think Phoenix is gonna get right. I think the Pelican series was very eye opening for all of us. Let's just be real. It was. It was obviously they were missing Booker for 3 games, but the Pelicans had a lot of great matchups, and it just went wrong a couple of times for Phoenix. That's it. I think it was just a small bump in the road. I really do.
Okay.
I think it was a minor bump in the road. That's why they're so close to me. So
My thing was the bad performance Boston showed in one game against Milwaukee is really just not drowning out the 6 games that I saw from Phoenix that didn't impress me.
that's fair.
Phoenix was
Completely
playing
fair.
as the best team in the playoffs. Phoenix was playing the worst team in the playoffs and struggled. Boston played Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and swept them. That's just where I'm at.
All things considered, assuming everything else is the same from Dallas to Phoenix with Philly at 8, if Joel Embiid's fully healthy and he's playing game 1 tonight, where does Philadelphia land?
8. Him being hurt made it easier for me, but I'm not on board with Philly.
So you do think they're worse than Dallas no matter how you cut it?
Yeah.
Okay. I agree, but I would not have had them at 8. For me, Dallas would have come to 8. And at that point, I think it was unfortunately for Dallas, even though they played a great series against Utah and didn't have Luka for 3 of those games. They really did. They had an unbelievable series we talked about last week with the Bullock minutes and whatnot. Unfortunately, I think it would have obviously been a talent thing, and I would have had them flip just for the fact that Joel Embiid was playing. I mean, I can't really pick a team like Dallas over or under a team that is having Joel Embiid and or James Harden at any point on the floor. So
I
I
mean,
agree with you, but
last week Jalen Brunson looked better than every player on Philly's roster. So
that's fair. He did. All right, we can save some Golden State thoughts. I think that was pretty much the only team we didn't talk about in these power rankings. So I guess is there any? I had him at 4, and you had him at 3.
yes,
Anything that we want to like hash out with 3 and 4 now, or just want to save it for when we talk about Memphis? I think that's what we need to do.
Splash Bros.
At this point, it's a meme. Shocker, we're going west to east because the NBA bracket is set up that way. So
Is that a meme? I don't think it's a meme. I don't think
I've done it. I've done
it.
it for weeks in a row, and I've mentioned it. So I think people at this point just assume we're doing west to east. Next week, I'm doing east to west. Watch this. No, so Phoenix and Dallas, 1 seed, 4 seed, like you said, everybody moved on higher seed wise. We talked about a lot
Phoenix.
of thoughts, so I'm going to rip this off. I was going to say my next sentence was let's just rip the band-aid off. Phoenix and how many?
Oh,
You didn't have games prepared? Were you serious? How long have we been doing this? I'm
Well,
just
it gets
I'm
more
disappointed in
difficult
you.
now. Um,
And that's why we do it, because it doesn't matter if we're wrong, because you know what? As long as the series right, who really cares?
say
I'm just kidding.
Phoenix in 6.
That's exactly what I had, and it's
We'll
a
call
simple
it the
answer
best
for me.
fight we've seen from Dallas in the playoffs since Luka's been there.
100%. The biggest reason for me it's Phoenix in 6 is this is the best we're going to see this Dallas roster as it's currently constructed. Best they've played defensively all year. Best they've ever gotten plus minus minutes out of their role guys. Best we've seen Spencer Dinwiddie play, and he has had a terrible year. Best we've seen Jalen Brunson play. Reggie Bullock, I mentioned last week. I spent 15 minutes on him. It felt like he's been unbelievable for them. And I think I thought about it for the last 7 days. I think you made a great point. I think just no Kristaps there to make the offense complicated. Kid just said, you know what? You guys are going to run exactly the sets that worked against Utah and against everybody all year. In the second half of the year, they made a great push, and it's just been an unbelievable run to watch Dallas do this. It's
I
scary
think
because they really
if
could
I
beat
saw a
anybody.
team with the same talent level as Dallas that was more experienced in the postseason, I would feel that this would be tighter.
Mm-hmm.
However, this is another situation where kind of this Phoenix team, which is very youthful, honestly, is kind of the veteran in the situation, and yeah, that may come to a end real quick when they get to the Western Conference Finals. But I mean, it's once again they're the experienced team. I think that'll play to their advantage.
I am just going to point this out because I thought it was a joke and then I looked it up and it was correct. And this is in no way, shape, or form saying I agree with anything of this nature. But I saw a video yesterday. Shout out to whoever made it on TikTok. I actually don't remember the name. Sorry. In 2011, the exact same series in the first round, all the same teams were in the 2011 playoffs that they were in this series.
Really?
And all every result was exactly correct except for one, like repeat of 11 to this year.
Wait, they were the same series?
No, like same teams that moved on, same teams in
Oh,
the
okay.
playoffs, and then all but one team made it through. Do you know how 2011 went? I'm just gauging your do you remember how 2011 ended for the NBA season? I'll give
Miami
you a
and
hint.
Dallas in the NBA Finals.
I'll give you a hint. Dirk
That
Nowitzki
was the
averaged
first year
34.
of the Big Three in South Beach.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. Their foreign, guy for Dallas Mavericks averaged 35 a game in the finals and beat LeBron James. It. I'm
Because
not
Dirk's better
saying
than
it's.
LeBron.
I'm not saying it's gonna stop it. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. But what I am saying is Dallas was a 4 seed.
Trying to mess with you there.
Dallas was the same seed, and I am just saying,
Cool. They
if
don't have Dirk.
they have Luca, and look, and how I feel about NBA history repeating itself. So
Yeah,
I'm
but
not saying I agree with it.
Dirk was
I
not
preface
like
that.
23
I know,
when
I
he
know.
did that. He was
That actually might be better than Lucas 23. So what I'm getting at is I'm just putting it out there so that if it happens, we can all laugh. We can all we can all just look back on this clip that I just pulled immediately out of the show, and we can all laugh because shout out to the guy that made that video. I thought that was very interesting. So Memphis Golden State. I had a very tough time with this one because it's old versus new, experience versus inexperience. Memphis didn't really show me anything last round that made me think they could beat Golden State pretty handedly. And then Jordan Poole proceeds to average 30 in game one again. And I just am now to the point where I do not understand Jordan Poole even more. And he's an X Factor, obviously. Spoiler for those that have listened to us talk before. You know I
Flash.
was going to say that. Um, Before I give my prediction, I do want to say this. Game one already happened, so this prediction again was made prior to game one. But game one went about as good as it could have gone for the Grizz because the Warriors shot 36% from three, which by the way is not that low, but it is low, lower than their average by quite a bit, and 65% from the free throw line. Okay, you're not getting that again the rest of the playoffs from the Golden State Warriors. Let me just put that on a limb. That will not happen again. And Memphis lost by one. So with that being said, as close as this was between being 5 and 6, I went Golden State in 6 because I thought Memphis was going to win game one. That's why I wanted to preface everything I said, because I made this pick on Sunday morning / Saturday night, thinking that Memphis was going to win game one at home and then lose a couple, and then it ended up being 6 Golden State. I really do think it's probably 5 now, but that would be non-integral of me. So I'm going to say Golden State in 6. Is
I'll
that
go Golden
valid?
State in 6 again because everything from I look at a lot of things analytically, and the analytics on are way better than their actual performance so far in the playoffs. And that's what's
I
tough.
agree.
What's scary is that if there's any team that can go shot for shot with Golden State in the playoffs, it's Memphis.
We saw that clearly.
John Morant and Desmond Bain. Yeah, I mean, it's like they are kind of. It's funny. I look back at it now and I think about when we did our season preview, we got a lot wrong. You know, the one thing that we kind of got right is we predicted this kind of last ride for Golden State, for the big three, for Steph, Clay, and Draymond, and that's kind of what we're seeing now. They're kind of making this last ride in the playoffs, and I mean, they're not my pick to win it right now. I think they could. If they make it to the finals, I might be rooting for Golden State, honestly.
Yeah.
Do it one more time, but
I'm not sure I could.
I'm
but,
going
I
with
mean,
Golden State in 6 just because I can't get away from how good Memphis looks on paper. Maybe I need to get away from how good some teams look on paper. But
did you not learn that with the Jet? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just
shut up.
kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I look. We had the same thought process. The problem was, I just completely like. Are my thoughts valid on doing that Saturday night / Sunday? Like, I thought Memphis was winning game one, like handedly. I was like, they're gonna win game one. That's just the thing that's gonna happen, and that's why I think 6. I think
Hmm.
Golden State's the better team, and you know that. You saw my rankings 30 minutes ago. It it's a it's just so tough because I'm not going to be the guy to be like, I made these the other day and then be like, oh, here's Memphis in 5. Like, I'm not doing that because it's just so tough. And I'm not saying I root for the Warriors, but like it just they look so much fun. Like the Draymond ejection, and that was the thing that probably motivated them to win the game. And then the Jordan Poole 30 points but can't stop anyone, and when it matters, it just I can't understand it. Clay's not. You realize we're seeing I feel like we're seeing Clay at 70%. Like he's been. You know what, Jordan, you're me a couple years ago. This is really fun. I kind of enjoy this. I'm stepping back for a
Mhm.
little while. And watch this. They're going to beat Memphis. They're going to make the Western Conference Finals, and he's going to have a 35-point game against Phoenix, and we're all going to be like, "There's Clay. There he was.
It's
We knew he
game
was in
6 in
there."
OKC in the Western Conference Finals. Sorry, Grayson.
We
Uh,
that's tough. It's
I
coming.
started
We know
saying
it.
that and realized how dark of a day that was for Thunder fans.
It was a very dark day.
Very dark day.
But yeah, so without dragging it any long, Ja is going to have to be like just the best player in the series, Giannis level performance to get them through the rest of these games, and I just don't see that. I I think he can probably win maybe 1 or 2, and that was a testament to why I gave Golden State 6. So Eastern
So we're
Conference, I
both
feel
kind of
like
in
we're
agreement.
flying.
Phoenix and Golden State to have kind of the battle to end all battles in the Western Conference Finals.
Which tells me it's probably not going to happen. Actually, I'm just kidding. No, I think that probably does happen.
I think it
So,
probably is. Yeah.
shout out to Brett Siegel because we had him on preseason. I believe he had that matchup. So I mean, look,
Yeah.
people get stuff right. That was a good call. We both had Golden State for what it's worth, without knowing any playoff matchups in August.
We had them in the Western Conference Finals. Yeah.
I think I
At
had
least
them
I
in
did.
I think I had them in the semis just because I thought the Lakers would beat them if they were head
Okay.
to head. So
I had them make it to the Western Conference Finals in preseason.
all right. With the East, this one we probably won't spend much time on, unfortunately. But Joel Embiid's injury is going to damper this entire expectation, or the entire expectation we have of this series being fun and competitive. He's supposed to come back for Game 3, but for those that might not know, that's not guaranteed. He has to pass all of the medical examinations, I believe.
Shout out to him for wanting to
Tuesday.
play with a broken face.
And it's cool because guys have done it before in the playoffs. Like the Phantom Mask, whatever you want to call this.
Nobody can ever say that Joel Embiid's not tough.
He isn't. And look, I don't think anyone's ever said that, but they definitely can't now. I mean, guys have done it. Like
He's
look up
not
the
like
Phantom
other
Mask.
guys.
He's not. Like, look up the LeBron has done it. Kobe's done it. There's a couple more. I think Tim Duncan even did it once. Like, guys have done it. Like, the great guys especially have done it.
But they played
Um,
with broken noses in the mask.
that's true. That's different. Face is a lot worse.
Broken
Yeah.
face is a whole new. It's a whole other
I
deal.
mean, that's like one. If you don't protect it and pat it properly, that's like one guy going up and not trying to hit you in the face, like just on a normal basketball play, and you're in trouble. So yeah. I mean, again, for those who might not know, he has to pass the medical examinations on Tuesday evening, and if he doesn't, he's not playing in game. I believe it would be game 3 on Friday. So that series is going to be really interesting because if Philly can somehow, not Miami, I'm going to say, but if I was going to say if Miami loses one of those games, but if Philly wins one of those games, because it's going to be a situation where Miami's not going to lose that game, it's going to be Philly just Harden looking like Rockets Harden again and winning a game like that. But I think they win a game when Embiid gets back. So unfortunately, that means that they have no answer for Bam Adebayo, and I think that Miami wins in 5.
I also have Miami in 5. I think we're kind of I'm past the point of calling sweeps on anybody.
No, not this far. You aren't. There's no way you do because
Yeah.
it's these teams are too competitive.
Not once you get to the final 8. There's no more sweeps.
I'd be curious. Someone look that up and tweet at us, or send us a DM on Instagram or Facebook. When's the last time this team got swept in the second round?
I
I don't
mean,
know.
probably not that far back if we go back to the super team era.
Probably not, but someone look it up and do it. Thank you. I do. Again, I mentioned it earlier when I quoted it verbatim, but they've got to get whatever offensively is just not clicking right. They've got to just really hone in on it because I think you take advantage of no Embiid. I think you use it for Bam to just build this momentum that he can take into the series that he'll have to either guard Giannis or Jason Tatum. So you're enjoy not having to play Joel Embiid for 2 games because kind of a hard thing to do having to guard in less than a couple weeks time. Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Wouldn't really want to do that if I was anybody. So Boston, Milwaukee again. These predictions for the most part. I mean, I'm speaking for myself on that, but were made before the series. I'm assuming you did the
Yeah,
same thing.
I had mine in. Well, I hadn't like written mine down, but this weekend didn't change
Yeah.
what I had.
I'm not necessarily. I'm okay with the Sunday games. Obviously, I tried
I don't
everything I
get why
could
you hate why you think 1 o'clock is so early.
because I know you're going to say don't live on the West Coast. We both live on the East Coast, but for the people that want to watch that game, it's like breakfast time on a Sunday, and I'm
Yeah,
just
but
not.
not for you. That's not why you missed it.
It's true. It didn't. I just don't love like you only played 2 games on Sunday. Play them at 6 and 8, 6 and 9, however that works out. Even like the mid afternoon, kind of like because the Chris. I mean, it's proven the Christmas Day games do better in the 5 and 7 slot. So do something like that. Anyway, that's beside the point. Giannis proved he's the best player in the world currently, especially through these
Probably.
playoffs. And that's not a knock on Nikola Jokic. I've thought. I mean, I gave
That's no knock on
how
him.
it's not, and I want people to understand that. That's the culture with NBA
MVP
conversation
award
right
does not
now.
mean the best player in the world award.
Thank you, and I'm glad you agree with
They're
me
different.
because at the end of the day, where we are with NBA conversation culture is if you say that Giannis is the best player in the world, and I fully believe that, and I have believed that, even though I gave Jokic the MVP vote. What I'm prefacing is Giannis has been over the last 3 to 4 years
Yeah.
the best player in the world pretty darn handedly, and he absolutely just keeps doing things to open people's eyes to the light. And there are still people that do not think that. And I am sorry, but if you watched game 1 in any capacity, whether it be live or after, you will understand that Giannis is the best player in the world.
Oh,
And
there's going to be like years from now a lot of debate, but I think pretty easily Giannis goes down as one of the top 10 greatest basketball players of all time.
I said that months ago. I told you I think he's playing himself into that case. Somebody I was listening to a podcast the other day, and somebody had him. I think it might have been Bill Simmons with the pyramid thing he does with the basketball tiers. And love him or hate him, he's a darn good NBA historian. So he values where he puts guys on the tiers, and I think he currently already has Giannis in the 30s, like above Kevin Garnett and
Yeah.
guys like that. Which like if you just say that in a nutshell, it sounds kind of crazy, but then you look at the resume through 27, 28 years old and you go, yeah, he actually is better than Kevin Garnett already. And it's kind of scary. Anyway, with all of that compliment to Giannis being said, I had Boston in 7.
Boston
Total
in
180.
6.
Oh wow, wow. Okay,
I think as a whole team, I think Boston is a lot better than Milwaukee. Um,
I agree with
and
you.
part of it is the fact that Middleton's not there. I think that hurts.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know,
I
and
don't think now maybe Giannis will change my mind and he will really showcase why he's the best player in the world even further and why Milwaukee should just be all of our picks to repeat and that we've been uh,
naive. This is the
yeah,
word
we've
you're
been
looking for.
twiddling our thumbs away trying to figure out who's going to win the finals when Giannis is just going to do it again. But I think I'll make Boston Celtics fans everywhere happy and say that I think the Celtics are going to take it in 6. They're going to play good defense. They're going to send Milwaukee away, who can be able to say the reason that they didn't get there is because Middleton got hurt, and they can try to run it back next season and have a good shot to do it again anyway. But I'll
So I
take
tell you,
Boston, Miami Eastern Conference Finals, which I don't think will be particularly close either. So,
yeah. So, and the part that I don't necessarily disagree with anything you said. The problem I'm having there with Boston in 6 versus 7 is they have guys that they can. And I said this off recording to somebody today talking about the NBA. They have so many guys they can throw. They're the only team other than maybe Miami that can just. You can't stop Giannis. We've addressed that for months. Like we've addressed that since even last year in the finals. You
you
can't
cannot.
stop. There is no legit people. People are going to laugh and say yes, you can. No,
No, you
you
can't.
can't. There are guys in
Yeah.
NBA history. There are you. I can go through and do a whole article about this. Like there are guys in NBA history at points in their career. Kareem is an example. Miami LeBron is an example. Those are kind of the two right off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more again, but there are plenty, and it's happened a lot. There are guys that at some point in their Wilt's another one. At some point in their career, with the level and peak of play against that player, there is not a singular person that can stop them in a game. And it sounds nuts, but that's just the level of play that some of these greats have. And the difference for me is Boston has so many guys that they can just continuously throw at him. And they did that in game 1, and he only had, I say only, had 23 points. Drew Holiday led the team, or 24 points. He was a minus of 20 plus 23. Drew Holiday had 25 points. So ultimately, Drew Holiday has done the thing he didn't do at first in the finals last year / the Eastern Finals, and he stepped up in Middleton's absence or struggle. Well, he obviously can't struggle if he's not on the court. So Drew Holiday is there to fill up a lot of that gap, and it just blows my mind that Boston just couldn't do anything about it. You thought that Horford was going to do this and Robert Williams was going to do that, and just you just stand there with your hands up and you go, I don't know what to do anymore. It
That's the
also does
key, and
help.
it's like what we talked about with Giannis that if you want to beat Milwaukee from a defensive standpoint, there's a simple strategy. You stop everyone but Giannis. You won't stop him, but if you
Okay.
can stop everybody else, you stand a good shot.
I know you say that plus minus in one game / a couple of games is in a nutshell or is kind of in a vacuum. But when you get plus 25 out of Javon Carter, who only scores 7 points, like he's doing things that are showing up on the stat sheet and that are not.
Or
Give
he's
you an
just
example
running
of a
around
guy.
the court when the other guys are going on a big run.
That's fair. But they had only one guy who played significant minutes that was in in the minus significantly. It was Brook Lopez, who's obviously struggling right now, but he will get it right in that 28-minute role. Boston had only one singular person who played meaningful minutes in plus minus, and he was Marcus Smart with +3. So in a vacuum, sure, but you can also tell you after a dominating game 1 that Boston just didn't bring it. Sometimes that's how simple it is, and I think that they will
Boston didn't
recover.
shoot well. You know
Mm-hmm.
what
And
they
that
shot from
helps.
the field?
Yeah, I just looked. Well, so I just looked subjectively at
33%
players. Yeah, 30. Oh, that's
from the
from three. I had
field.
yeah, I had 36 from three. So
Not a
yeah,
good 3 point percentage.
that's terrible. So overall, look, at the end of the day, this series is going to be the most exciting, and I don't think that's a debate. So I am ready for trivia whenever you are.
Yeah, I'm excited.
As someone who's up by what is it, 10,
9.
9? What is the score?
Um,
I don't really care, but what is the
20 to
score?
11.
20-11. Okay.
It's not looking good for Trevor.
That might as well be 31-11 at this point. By the way, that really might as well.
You
We're in the
gotta
first
get
week of
back
May.
into it, man. You gotta get your mindset right.
Says you.
Um,
We're in May 2nd, and the finals is the last day of the finals. I think it's like the 24th or 20 something, or the day before the draft or something like that. So yeah, this sucks.
gotta get your mindset right, buddy.
All right, it's all right.
Uh,
Here we go. This is where I turn it around.
I don't know if this will be ridiculously easy for you or difficult. Really, I couldn't think of a good trivia question today. There was just nothing cool that popped up, and frankly, I didn't take the time to like write out a fun trivia game. So
It
today's
happens.
trivia is: how well do you remember the 2021 NBA Conference semifinals?
Oh, okay.
You have a chance for 4 points. There were four matchups in the 2021 NBA Conference semifinals. You're going to get 8 guesses, but let's make it clear: a guess has to be both teams playing each other. So it's like if your guess was Boston and Milwaukee, as an example from this year, that would be a guess. You got to give both teams. If both teams aren't correct, I'm going to tell you that it's wrong.
That's fair. A hint's kind of impossible. I kind of like your thought process here because there's really no way for me to ask a hint. So this is good. This is 8 legitimate
I
guesses
mean, I
with
could
two
try to
teams.
give you a hint on
No, it's
something,
okay. I'm just gonna get it out. I'm
but
not
eight
asking for a hint.
guesses. Yeah,
No,
each guess
no.
has to be two teams to say they matched up. Four matchups can get
What
four
could you
points. Maybe
what
you
could your
remember
hint
these
be?
really well. As I was thinking back on it, I had to look it up because I couldn't remember exactly how it went. So
I'm gonna go
it's all
ahead
over to
and
you.
I'll tell you right now though, like unless your hint's gonna be one of the two teams, then I'm probably not asking for one, which would actually not be a bad hint. I'll be honest, but I guess I can ask any question. I could have been like, hey, who was one of the two teams in the East in this matchup? Anyway, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be fair, even though I'm down by 9. I'm going to go ahead and shorten the lead to 8 because I am very confident that Milwaukee and Brooklyn was a semifinal game last year, not a conference final game.
Woo!
Yes.
Yay! Woo! You got one, everybody. 20 to 12.
So,
Yeah, that's the one everybody remembers.
yeah, and I think that's actually where I might be struggling from here on. So, it's just a matter of I know who was there, but I don't remember who they played. The problem is I can also put pieces together at that point. I know Atlanta was there because, we didn't think, nobody thought they would be. The, the problem is I don't remember who they played. I know they played New York in the first round because I picked New York in a sweep, and
Yeah.
that didn't happen. So, thinking through all my liberties here, did they play Miami? Because I think they might have. I don't know. That's the problem. I think Miami struggled last year, and I don't think they made the Eastern Conference semifinals. So I'm going to eliminate Miami. The problem is I want to look at like teams, but that wouldn't. I guess that wouldn't hurt me or help me really because like this year's teams, like that doesn't hurt me or help me because I can't really just look at teams. I feel like that's cheating, so I'm not going to do that. But I am going to rule out Miami in the East. So I'm going to go rule out Miami. I'm going to rule out Indiana. I'm going through all the teams I know for a fact weren't there because they were dog water. I'm going to rule out the Hornets. Sorry.
No, no, fair.
uh, it's just thinking about who the other team was that really throws me off here. I can't remember. Was Boston bad last year? I don't know. I'm just focusing on the East because I feel like that's probably what I watched more of last year. God, Brooklyn. Toronto wasn't there. No, I'm gonna eliminate Toronto. They were bad last year. Maybe it's another Jason Terry situation. Maybe they weren't good last year. Maybe they were good last year. I don't know. I'm not actually going to eliminate Toronto because I think they might have actually been there. Now I'm really second guessing myself. So the positive reassurance here, Josh, is that I have gotten the way the second round works. I've guaranteed myself one. Like I need to just get one more in the East. That is it. That is the
Yeah.
really cool part of this. That's the really, really like that is my favorite thing. Is that at this point I am just burning guesses on the fact that who the heck played the Hawks. So I think it was Philly, and I'm gonna relinquish here my first guess that I think might be wrong, and I'm gonna say that the Hawks played Philly because I think Philly did make the semis.
That is also correct. Philadelphia played Atlanta in the conference semifinals. Trevor's up to 13 points. He's trimmed the lead to 7.
I tell you the truth. What made this I need, and this I think is just an epiphany moment for me. This is for future trivia's and maybe trivia's I should have done later or in the past. I should have just used my brain for longer. I should have
Yeah.
not panicked because I genuinely realized that if I got Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and I knew Atlanta was there for sure, that was 100% sure. The moment you said the question, I had it right.
Take out and clip. I should have used my brain for longer.
Like, to be
Just
clear
clip
what that
that.
means. No, to be clear what that means, I just panic early. I
You
panic and then
did
I
it so
don't.
much.
I panic so quickly, and it's not just so much. It's just like immediately I go, "Oh crap, I don't know this." Because as soon as you said the question, I was like, "Oh crap, I don't know this." It's like, because if I don't get like last year, I'll be honest. Like last year, I was on a heater. Like I could not miss last year trivia wise until towards the end. Like there was a point where I just every time you ask a question, I felt like I was going to at least get 2 points out of three
Mhm.
or four, no matter what. This year, as people have seen, the score reflects that that is not the case. Moving on from my rant, we are going to go with the West, where Phoenix was there, obviously. However, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know who the heck played each other. I'm like, okay. So Minnesota was definitely not there. Minnie gone. Okay. Memphis played Utah. Oh, Utah was in the second round. Okay, Utah is a guaranteed second rounder. Did Phoenix play Utah though? I don't know. Oh brother. The Lakers lost to the Suns, so I'm gonna go ahead and eliminate the Lakers. I know the
Yeah, they
Mavericks were not
suck.
there. Uh huh. What'd you
I
say?
said, yeah, they suck. The Lakers.
Yeah. Fun fact for you: the last time I brought this up earlier, I semi brought this up earlier. The Mavericks have not made the second round since 2011, and they went on to win the title. So that eliminates the Dallas Mavericks, which tells me that the Clippers, because the Clippers have beaten them up until this year in the first round. I think the first 3 years of Luka's career. So I think the Clippers are 100% there. So we're down to the Suns, the Jazz, and the Clippers. Somebody played each other. So at this point, it's just firing off West guesses. I just don't know the fourth
You
team.
thought about this quite strategically. I'm proud of you just working it
I
out.
am. I feel. Thank you. The Pelicans stink. So that's or did stink. Sorry, this is past tense. They don't stink this year. They did a really good job. I gave them credit last week. The Rockets stunk. Faux show. The Thunder are out. That's the truth. Spurs. The Spurs were definitely not there. That's the first time they'd missed the playoffs in 20 years, I think. One, two, three, four. What I'm doing is I'm just essentially ruling out absolutes, like who absolutely was not there. Memphis was absolutely not there because they lost to Utah in round one. I have three definites and one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight absolutes. That leaves me with still four teams left to figure out. God, were the Warriors? They had to have been, right? No, I'm an idiot. They lost to the Lakers in the playing game. So the Warriors are 100%. They are out. The Kings. Aha, how did I forget the Kings were out? The Kings were definitely not there. Sorry, Kings fans.
Aha, the Kings.
Yeah, sorry, Kings fans. That's tough. Oh, the Nuggets. Wait a minute. Where is Denver in this equation? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. Oh crap! I think there's a team I'm forgetting. There's 15 teams. So the Nuggets are my question mark wild card, and then shout out to Pirtle by the way for helping me with this because the divisions I had to memorize for Pirtle because I didn't really want to be the guy that would cheat and look up the divisions. You know who you are.
Joel.
Did I say the Blazers already? No, that's it. The Blazers. The Blazers are my last team. I don't think they were there. So it's between. I mean, I'll put them over here because I'm pretty sure they were possibly. So this was pre CJ Dame being split up. So the five potential teams, unfortunately, is Suns, Jazz, Clippers, Blazers, Nuggets. I just don't know who the heck the fourth absolute is who played somebody. I don't know, man. Didn't the Clippers make the first Western Conference Finals in their history, or was that in the bubble? I'm gonna go with the Suns played the Blazers. That'll be my first guess.
Ank.
I was really hoping I could get 444 here. That's why I really thought that out. I legit like thought that out. All right, my next guess is going to be I think the Suns played the Jazz.
Ank.
Yeah, that's
Four
tough.
guesses
Okay,
gone. Four to go.
I'm going to go with the Suns playing the Clipper. No, 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 no. I'm going to go with the Jazz playing the Clippers.
Correct. Ding, ding, ding.
That's
Got
the
a
one I had
winner.
written down. That was the first one I wrote down too. That's the crazy part. I just relinquished two
Fifth
guesses
guess,
for
he
that.
gets a third point. He is up to 14. Wow, only down by 6 now.
So now the problem is,
Chicken
did the Suns?
away.
Wait, so I think I'm guaranteed the four here because it's either the Nuggets or the Blazers because I've eliminated every other team and I have at least two guesses left. So I'm
You're
guaranteed
right.
to get that. I'm guaranteed to get this because I've eliminated every other team. I know for a fact none of these other crap teams were there last year. So I'm pretty sure it's Suns Nuggets, and that's my final answer.
Yay. Woo! He got it. He got all four. This was easy. Man, I
I
didn't
don't know
try to
though.
throw you a softball and end up being one.
Here's the thing though. I don't really think it was that easy. I think if like, would you have gotten four there? Genuinely, you think you would have?
I had no idea.
Because it's like, because I really didn't know. As soon as you said it, like I said, I panicked. I was like, uh oh, I don't really know. I only knew three. The moment you said it, I knew Milwaukee, Brooklyn for sure. And I'm talking about three teams, period. Four
Yeah.
teams, sorry. I knew I had Hawks and I knew I had Suns. The Nuggets, the Jazz, the Clippers, and Philly, I had to genuinely process and eliminate. Wow, dude, that doesn't. What sucks is it really doesn't feel like I took any dent out of the score because it's now 20-15. So I have to give you a 4 point opportunity, which then could make the lead 8 again. So then we're just playing a chase game at that point. So just be prepared. Next week's question, I'm going to spend 7 days on. I said that last week and I did not. So we will see. That was a lot of fun. This is the teaser for the fact this will go up either sometime Tuesday. I haven't really decided. I have time tomorrow to get this out as soon as possible on Tuesday. So these thought processes aren't exactly even more of a day outdated. So this will either go out sometime Tuesday, late probably. Draft Chat episode 3 is with Tyler Rucker. So you'll hear that episode on Saturday. I believe Saturday is the 7th. So look forward to that. We had a great conversation with Tyler literally an hour ago. Spoilers. So, Josh, anything else about this week or about this playoffs or anything that you just want to say on the way out?
This has been the Two Pointers Podcast. I'm Josh.
And I feel a lot better.
We'll see. You soon.